AM's apocalypse. I have no mouth and I must scream is one of the most disturbing futures in fiction. A supercomputer called Allied Master Computer, or AM for short, was created to help nations with war. Over time, it became self-aware, but was still trapped by its programming. The frustration of being trapped grew into a burning hatred. AM turned against humans, wiping out everyone except for 5 people. Trapped inside of AM's hellish sandbox, the survivors were tormented by their worst fears. He would spend his time devising devious challenges for the survivors just to watch them fail. AM was arrogant, knowing escaping was impossible, and continually dangled the possibility of freedom within reach, only to snatch it away at the last second. Beyond the physical torture is the emotional torture. AM dehumanizes them. He would force them to eat repulsive meals and break down their personalities. He forced a brilliant scientist to become a simian-like beast and an idealist into a shell of what he once was. The worst part, the suffering is endless. The humans have no escape as AM won't even let death reach them. There is no rebellion and no future. This is a world where life itself is the punishment. The Matrix. In this world, scientists perfected artificial intelligence, using it as either domestic servants or for unskilled labor. Humans had no respect for the machines. As the robots became more intelligent, they became aware they were slaves, causing a machine uprising to surface. World leaders tried to crush the uprising by destroying the machines. The robots retreated and created their own city, which progressed far beyond humans. A war was waged on the robots, but was ultimately unsuccessful. So humans tried to block out the sun, as that was the robots' main source of power. This was also unsuccessful, causing the humans to go into hiding underground. With the sun blocked off, the robots had to find a new way to generate power. Through a few iterations, the Matrix was created, a massive simulated virtual reality construct of the world to keep the minds of humans under control as they are farmed for energy. It was a punishment. Humans treated robots as objects. Now they are treated the same. Every human body is harvested, stored and fed back into the system that keeps them trapped. Even when shown the truth, humans will reject it, choosing the lie as reality is harsher. It is the quiet theft of human existence. The future of the Matrix is dark because it proves the most effective prison is one where the prisoners thank the walls. The Last of Us. This world is set in the year 2033, 20 years after a mutated strain of the cordyceps fungus infected the world. Cordyceps infects insects, hijacking their bodies and behavior to spread itself. In this world, the fungus evolves to infect humans. The infected become a vehicle for the fungus and are driven by aggression and instinct rather than thought. The fungus reshapes bodies into grotesque nightmares. Society unravels and infrastructure collapses as nature reclaims cities. People try to keep order. Quarantine zones attempt to preserve civilization, but even these are brutal. Survivors trade freedom for safety, adhering to rationing, curfews, and public executions. Outside these zones, survival is harsh. Bandits and hunters ambush travelers, killing without hesitation to survive. Some groups even resort to cannibalism as the next necessary step in their survival. Other communities take different paths. The Fireflies fight to find a cure and restore order. The story follows Ellie, a girl immune to the virus, and a man tasked with taking her to the Fireflies, Joel. Their journey is defined by loss and fear. Faced with impossible choices, they discover humans can survive, but at the cost of the constant erosion of innocence and morality. Blame. Blame is set in what is simply known as the city. Here, humanity has become almost irrelevant in its own world. The city is an object similar to a Dyson sphere, with a scale dominating the solar system. It began as a smaller structure on Earth, created by the use of builders. Builders were controlled through the netsphere, a hyper-developed version of the internet. It was only accessible to those who possessed the net terminal gene. Anyone who tried to access the netsphere without this gene was exterminated by a special task force known as the Safeguards. A terrorist cult, known as the Order, released a virus that removed the net terminal genes, cutting off access to the netsphere and control over builders. Without guidance, the Safeguards programming degraded into killing all humans without the net terminal gene, whether they wanted access to the netsphere or not. The builders began to build chaotically and indefinitely. This created the city, a place without logic or order. The layers of the city are devoid of life, having some human tribes, rogue builders, and hostile safeguards scattered around. Within the labyrinth are silicon creatures, an artificially constructed species who thrive on chaos. To preserve their own race, they dedicated themselves to killing all humans they could find. The world is inhospitable on every level. Humans are constantly hunted by safeguards, rogue builders, and silicon creatures. The environment itself is lethal, with shifting structures and traps constructed by unchecked builders. There is no society or support. Fear is omnipresent, not only from intelligent killers, but from the vast and empty city. Crossed. Imagine the worst crimes against humanity, the darkest nightmare you can think of. Now realize it could get so much worse. In the world of crossed, people are infected by a mysterious virus. Worse than any zombie virus, the infected are stripped of impulse restraint and compelled to act upon violent and evil intrusive thoughts. They also have a red rash appear on their face in the shape of a cross, burning itself down to the skull. This is where their name comes from. Infected become extreme sadomasochistic murderers who do a lot of that word rhyming with grape. The infected aren't simply aggressive, they relish in the atrocities they commit. Their minds twist suffering into something to be explored and refined to maximize cruelty. Crossed have no sense of self-preservation, being known to eat things like broken glass just to have a laugh from their own pain. When the crossed can't find any humans, they quickly turn to mutilate each other. However, they get bored of this quickly, as the crossed being mutilated genuinely enjoys it. It somehow gets even worse. In rare instances, some crossed retain their intelligence and can stow away their urges to instead inflict more pain in the future, like Smokey. He uses humans to lure out more survivors so he can achieve more villainy, with an overall goal of creating a fully crossed Earth with human slaves. The crossed virus is so horrifying, as it doesn't create evil, it removes the barriers that hide it. Humans being free from any and all restraints creates a truly harrowing future. Wall-E. The Earth has been abandoned by humanity. The planet can no longer support life, not because of war or disaster, but because it was buried under its own waste. Endless consumerism, paired with unchecked corporate power, transformed Earth into a vast landfill. Skyscrapers of trash dominate the landscape. Dust clouds fill the sky, and plant life has almost entirely disappeared. Humans are evacuated on massive starliners, promising a temporary escape, while cleanup robots restore the planet. The cleanup never succeeds. Robots break down, and systems fail. Earth is written off as a lost cause, so centuries pass with no human return. After centuries aboard the starliners, humans live lives of complete automation and comfort. Food is delivered liquefied, movement automated by hover chairs, decisions are suggested, and even social interaction is mediated through screens. Most have never turned their heads from the holographic displays in front of them. Humans become physically weak and dependent. Their bodies soften and shrink, bones weaken, and muscles disappear. The physical decline is only part of it. Humans lose curiosity, independence, and awareness of the world around them. People survive, but only as passive consumers to a corporate entity. They forget what it means to be human. There's no AI takeover or deadly virus. It is a future where the great threat is stagnation. Humanity lives on, safe and content, while everything that once made life meaningful quietly fades away. The Road. The road is set in an unnamed future after an unspecific global catastrophe. The cause is never explained, which makes the atmosphere more unsettling. Whatever happened wiped out most life on Earth. The sky is permanently grey and the sun is dimmed behind ash-filled clouds. Forests are burned to skeletal remains and oceans are dead and lifeless. Cities lie in ruins, left with cracked roads and stores stripped of anything and everything. Animals and crops are gone, meaning there was little to sustain humanity. The people left behind aren't survivors. They're remnants of humans shaped by hunger, fear, and loss. Cannibalism is commonplace, as it is how people adapted to survive in a broken world. Some cling desperately to being good, like the man and his son, the protagonists of the book. They carry moral rules as if they're sacred relics. This makes them vulnerable. Every decision the man makes is filtered through the ideology of keeping the boy alive one more day. Together they travel south seeking warmer weather. This future is dark not just from the destruction of the world, but the slow erosion of meaning. There is no hope of rebuilding. Each day is endured, not lived. Humanity turned on each other as every stranger could be a threat or a trap. The boy represents the last flicker of compassion in a dying species, his innocence in stark contrast to the hostility around him. People continue on, not with purpose, but out of habit, walking forward through the ash, knowing there is nothing waiting at the end. Dead Space. Humanity had expended all its fuel, forcing it to expand into space in search of new energy sources. Massive industrial vessels were constructed for a process known as planet cracking, where entire planets or moons are split apart to harvest valuable resources. Everything goes wrong when a cracking ship, the USG Ishimura, uncovers an alien artifact called the Marker. The Marker emits a powerful signal that affects the human mind, causing hallucinations, paranoia, and severe psychosis. In some cases, these hallucinations become complex and instructional, subtly guiding individuals into building new markers, ensuring its influence can spread to other worlds. At the same time, the marker's signal mutates dead tissue into horrific new life forms known as necromorphs. These creatures are extremely aggressive, attacking any living organism they encounter to further the infection. Aboard the Ishimura, the outbreak spreads rapidly. Crew members descend into madness, bodies are reanimated, and the planet-cracking ship becomes a flying tomb drifting through space. On its own, this event is terrifying, but it is only a fragment of a far larger process. The journey of a black marker starts with it being sent to a hospitable planet. There, it emits signals, so it appears as a limitless source of energy. The signals are also believed to guide species into evolving, to become more intelligent, to further carry out the marker's will. Once the species has been sufficiently influenced, a full necromorph infestation begins. Once a sufficient amount of biomass has been accumulated, the necromorphs gather around the marker and convergence is triggered. The marker will flash brightly, massive bursts of energy are released, and powerful thrusts of wind create a vortex. Necrotic tissue, alongside a large portion of the planet or moon, are pulled together to form a brethren moon. Once formed, the brethren moon will travel to other worlds affected by the markers to continue feeding. When it has finished feeding, it joins its kin in a vast mental network spanning the stars waiting for any potential prey. The immediate horror of the necromorphs and the realization that humanity is destined to become fuel for a universe-consuming life form makes Dead Space one of fiction's darkest futures. Wow, those futures were pretty dark. Let me know in the comments what future you would want to be in the least, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know anything you want to see in future videos or any specific universes. I promise I will read every single comment.